Loneliness is the biggest danger to singleness that there is. Loneliness feeds depression, fuels insecurities, and it is a leading cause of the worst decisions that we make. So how can we fix the loneliness problem when we're single? Here are 6 tips on how to overcome loneliness, whether you've been single for many years or maybe you've just come out of a relationship, or perhaps you're finding yourself being single again in a later season in life. The first tip, acceptance. But one step that you cannot skip in the fight against loneliness is acknowledgement and acceptance. You can't fight an enemy if you are constantly pretending to yourself that they're not there. Can I just remind you that being lonely is a very normal human emotion? You're not weird. There's not anything wrong with you because you feel a lot of loneliness. It's very normal because guess what? We were created to be in relationship with others. It's in our DNA. From a Christian standpoint, because you know that my faith means a lot to me, we were created to be in a personal relationship with God. So of course, if you're not able to fill that very human need that you have that craves relationship, it's completely normal to feel that sting of loneliness because it is in your DNA to have relations with others. Tip number 2, express yourself creatively. This is a tip that most people don't even think about. This tip is incredibly overlooked, but is one of the most useful ones. Being creative provides us an outlet for self-expression. And in turn, did you know that that actually gives us an emotional release? It is a super powerful tool that you can have in order to help you deal with and cope with loneliness. Like actually, I remember I was in the midst of being housebound, I think at that point for probably near on 3 years. I got so sick that I could hardly leave my house, let alone leave my bed or my room. So I actually lost a lot of friends and the people that I usually interacted with. I got really depressed and lonely. So I decided one day that I was going to learn how to create digital art on my iPad. I took classes and courses. Oh my gosh, it was a far more cathartic way for me to spend my evenings compared to aimlessly scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or whatever else. A huge bonus was being creative in the evenings made the time go by so much quicker. Because if you've either been chronically ill and you've had to be home, or maybe you're just incredibly lonely, the evenings are the worst part of the day. It's just like time stands still. And I found that when I was actually being creative and I was using my mind for positive things like that, the time went by so quick and it actually helped me sleep. I learned how much I love to draw on my iPad. Have I ever been known as an artist? You ask anybody. No, I am not an artist. I did not do well in art at school. I would not say that I was a drawer. But honestly, I found a hobby that I love, and it turns out I can actually take instruction pretty well and follow tutorials and classes, and I can actually be really good at drawing on my iPad. So look for creative activities. Look for ways that you can express yourself. Just find something that interests you and try it. I promise you that this is one of the most golden tips that I have for how to deal with loneliness. And guess what? Maybe you might find a passion or a talent that you never knew that you had. The third tip for dealing with loneliness: create a routine. Creating a healthy daily and weekly routine becomes absolutely monumentally important when you're trying to deal with loneliness and also cope with a single life. You need structure and you need stability in your life. There is no getting around that. Every human, regardless if you're someone who's really carefree and you just love to go with the flow and you don't make any plans, every human at one point needs stability, security, and structure in your life. That might look very different to you than it does to me, but everybody needs that. So everybody needs a routine. I would even say this is especially crucial if you are newly single and you're just coming out of a serious long-term relationship. You need to create a routine for yourself in order to get through the post-breakup journey, but also how to embrace being single again. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would tell me how much happier and more content I was as a child when I was back in school after the long summer holidays and I was back in a normal routine. As humans, we need a regular routine. There's also scientific proof that it makes us feel safe and secure as humans. We just feel more at peace. Structure and routine could look like one thing to me and look completely different to you. So make sure you find something that relates to who you are. Some very key and easy examples of elements you can include in your routine: having a good night's sleep. Force yourself to have good sleep habits. Eat nutritious meals. Fill your body with the nutrition that it craves and it needs. Move your body. Exercise, even if it's going for a small walk or you're going to the gym, do something to move your body. Have some social interaction. It even could be interaction with friends that you have online if you're like me and deal with chronic illness and you can't always get out of the house. Just have some interaction with people. Also, practice self-care because it is so important to learn the discipline of having time to recharge and rest. If you enjoy content about relationship science, dating, singleness, even friendships, and are eager to learn how to create effective human connections, then make sure you subscribe and be a part of our family here. And also, if you know someone that would gain value from this video, then make sure you pay it forward and share the link with them. The fourth tip, exploring virtual communities. Finding ways to be social without leaving my house, and I've become quite the expert at forging a life for myself in the online world, especially as someone who deals with very severe chronic illness. I have found some of the most meaningful, most genuine, and lifelong friendships from people that I've met online than anywhere else in my life. Sometimes we are under the misconception that we're alone in our situation. Like the reason why I'm sad and depressed and lonely is just unique to me. Like no one else really understands what I'm going through. There are thousands, if not millions of people who are feeling exactly the same as you are feeling right now. Like feel the weight of that. Twitch, which is an online gaming streaming platform, was a huge door for me to finding some of the people that I love most in this world now. I forged so many friendships that I still have to this day. There is going to be a virtual community for whatever hobby or interests you have. There just is, okay? The internet is a massive place, and there's going to be people that love the things that you do. However quirky or weird you think your interests are, there is a community for you. You just have to go out there and find it. And I really don't think that this is just a younger person thing. I don't think it's just a millennial thing or a Gen Z thing. I actually don't. If you are in your 70s or 80s, there are going to be people online that you can connect with because loneliness is not just a problem for the young. Loneliness is an issue for all ages, but it really does affect the elderly too. It does not matter how old you are. You can go and create genuine relationships and interactions with people like you online. You just have to take the leap in order to meet your tribe. The one thing I would say when cultivating communities online, like creating friendships online, is that you do have to be more intentional because these are not people that you're just going to run into on your way to the store or when you're out for a walk. These are people that you have to intentionally choose to communicate and check in with. It is so worth it when you find the right people, trust me. If you want to find some ideas on how to find your people online, there are places like Reddit that have specific threads for literally any hobby or interest, and I'm sure you can definitely find someone there. But I would say that if you are new to the online world and online communities, that you should definitely not give out any personal information. You can also go on places like YouTube and find a creator in a niche that you love and just start interacting in the comments with them, because actually you'll find they probably do have a community, and a lot of those communities are first birthed in the comments of videos. Some creators even have closed like membership groups on Facebook and places like that, or on Discord, which I use a lot. So make sure you just ask and you see if they have an online community somewhere. The fifth tip, take your eyes off yourself. Loneliness is often amplified when we isolate ourselves. And yet, isolating ourselves is almost like a knee-jerk reaction that we have when we feel lonely. This can be a result of us actually focusing too much on ourselves and our current situations. We're just looking at me. A really effective remedy to feeling lonely is actually looking how you can help or enrich someone else's life. Volunteering is a fantastic way to do this, but also just being a more present and intentional friend can also have the same effect, especially when you have a friend that you know is going through a really rough time right now. Volunteering for a cause close to your heart can also bring new friends into your life. I've gone on different missions with the church. Like there was one that I went to an orphanage in Portugal, and it is amazing what lifelong friends you build by going through a shared experience like that. The less you focus on yourself, the less the loneliness will take up your whole view. Singleness really is a very valuable, unique season of your life. And it is a time where you can sow into other people. So as much as I really do empathize feeling desperately lonely at times, maybe you need to switch your lens and see the season that you're in as one of the most rewarding that you can have. Now, the next tip is learn about yourself and evolve. This is not only a really, really helpful tip in order to help deal with loneliness, but it is a ginormous step into preparing yourself for future relationships. Self-development has oftentimes gotten a bad rep because People think oftentimes, it's just a self-help trend. And in reality, it's really not needed. My dad actually left me with a quote that I always have playing in my head. Never think you've arrived in life or that you know it all. Always, always, always keep learning no matter how old you are. We all have work that we consistently need to do on ourselves. There will always be some self-awareness or a new perspective that we need to adopt. Like recently, I've actually been learning about the attachment theory, and slowly I'm starting to recognize what I am, because I have actually come to the conclusion that the persona that we have as a single person, as a single entity, is different oftentimes to how we are in a relationship. Like we're the same person, but there are different shades of ourself that we then see. Singleness is a prime time where you get to work on yourself unapologetically. Trust me, when you get into a relationship, you will have a constant mirror of who you really are, because you'll see a first-hand reflection of your strengths, but also your weaknesses. And it's so much easier going into a relationship when you've been actively working on yourself. I would love to know down below in the comments what healthy ways you use to cope with loneliness, because we all know that there are really unhealthy ways, but I would love to know things that have helped you in your journey through loneliness. If you would like to see another video on singleness and dating, then make sure you check out the next video.